Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stalingrad, 1942. This is the Lord Chief Rocket, number one from Breakup Game Society, here with my big bro from Perth, Noisy Andrew of Party Meeple. Hello, Noisy.
Hello, Lord Chief Rocker. It's been fun shooting at you.
Especially in this scenario, and if you remember a few episodes back, Noisy offered to let me experience the game you're looking at now. This is a map of Scenario 1 of Squad Leader, the Avalon Hill 1977 classic infantry combat game. I got all excited when Noisy told me he knew the rules to Scenario 1 more or less by heart and had a near 100% accuracy rate in citation when challenged. And I have to say, Noisy, your claim is mostly proven out.
I think there has been a few holes, but I'm even surprised myself because it's been decades since I've had this out.
It's been tremendous fun, and like you, I missed the game. So we've had this on pause, and just let me tell you, like we always say in the movies. I bet you're wondering how we got here. This is probably, I think, is the very last turn of the last battle we fought. One in which I played as the Russians. Those are the brown counters, the very few brown counters you see along the northern parts of the map, and Noisy has been playing as the German, which are those light blue counters. This was the story of this, Noisy, is I thought after we'd played Scenario 1 a few times already that I more or less knew how it was going to shake out every time if I just stuck with a couple behaviors or patterns. But in this one, I decided to be a little aggressive and reckless, and all hell broke loose. This has been just full of evocative stories, twists, turns, and reversals. And it's been one of the more fun single sessions I've had all year of any game.
Yeah, I think the replayability of this initial, I guess we would just call it a teaching scenario. I don't think that Craigus Taylor or whoever it was that designed this, apologies if I've got that wrong, intended this scenario to be, anything more than you learn the game and then you move on from there. But we've played it 3 times now, and it has actually challenged us differently each time.
Yep, it certainly has. I thought it was and just to cue our friends in who may not know the game, it's the job of the Russians in this scenario to push the Germans out of 2 buildings, push them out completely, and be in possession of those buildings when the game ends. As you can see, down there around Gulf 6, if you could give us a radar ping there, Andrew.
Oh, here we go. Look at that.
That is the building that I ran into, faced withering fire, and now I'm in the process of barely trying to survive in. But what I'd really like to do is, and I think there are other hairy elements here, but can you ping hex J2 where all my trouble started?
I have to learn the alphabet.
Juliet 2, please.
Here we go.
There we are, Juliet 2. So
The broken squad.
the broken squad with the dead commander. So here's what happened with that. As this scenario is set up, the Russians have more bodies, and they have one beastly unit that has a lot of those PPSH 41s with experienced troops. However, the Germans, to set things off, have more support weapons and more and better commanders. The Russians only have one machine gun, and it was sitting in Juliet 2. And its job is to sort of anchor that V between the 2 buildings that the Russians hold and be able to shoot the right places so that I can either hold on to what I've got or soften up somewhere for a rush from that vantage point. Well, that team, as I recall, landed a lot of hits early and broke a lot of the German squads. And down there in Juliet 5, you'll see my bête noire, Sergeant. So I've been trying to run out of that building the entire game. uh, my my squad was able to machine gun squad was able to hit his position enough to where all his squads broke. And I thought, why do I need to be stationary? So I rushed the position, and that included, if you see that medium machine gun, the only one that I have sitting out in the middle of the road, that's what's left over from when. That's the one when my commander tried to haul that across the road with the one squad that could operate it. There was a very short and lethal exchange of fire. Sergeant from inside the building, even though he had no squads, jumped on the machine gun himself at a great modifier disadvantage and fired at me while I was in that road. My commander lived, but as you'll see, the the gentlemen who were supposed to operate the machine gun ran back into Juliet 2 and hid. That left my commander alone with the gun, so he racked it and shot into the building, I believe, killing a few of Sergeant's broken squads. And at that point, the smoke is cleared, and it's two officers and no support staring at each other through a bullet-ridden window. Now, as I was the offense that turn, I decided to just have my officer run directly into the building, at which point there was a hand-to-hand scuffle, which I lost.
You know, I think there's a lesson here that when you don't have a lot of something, wasting it is a poor pay. Because I have other leaders to burn, and your leaders are few and precious.
This was the scenario where I decided, what happens if I just rush you the very first chance moment of advantage I thought I saw, but that window closed quickly, especially when, yes, I mean, who knows what happened in that building? For all I know, Sergeant picked up a piece of brick and just pounded my Russian commander's head in. And then, but that wasn't even the beginning of it, because over there where you see a commander in Foxtrot 5, there's the best of the Russian commanders, Colonel Sadov, that's him. And he was rushing his elites into the building, which worked at first. But then, as you can see, the Germans were able to hold their positions to the south, peppered me with enough fire to where I had to more or less retreat to parts of the building where I couldn't be constantly strafed. And on another funny story, I don't know if you remember this or not, because it's been a while since we looked at the map. Down there in Indigo 7, there's a captain, my captain, which is a German commander, which noisy name, almost. That's Hotel 7 there. And I don't know if you remember Noisy. I thought I might have had the luck of the gods with me, because I believe the turn after I rushed into that building, that very well-armed squad of yours jammed or broke all three of their machine guns.
Yes, well, you know, I'm still an atheist, all right? Just so you know.
Pick whatever god or gods works for you. Maybe it was Ares smiling on you that day. And then, just because it was getting late in the day and none of my gambits were working, I thought I'd throw bodies at it. And I had another commander rush in from that large stone building that centers around the Mike and Niagara rows over there on the east side of the map. And as it stands there, what's the recap, Noisy? It looks like they're in Kilo 5. You have Sergeant Spitz in close combat with Commander Fuckov and one of his squads. And I don't know what's going to happen in this last turn, but oh my gosh, it's extremely dicey, because I don't believe I'll be able to push you out. This is looking like a loss with a lot of hairy twists and turns. Oh, and to top it all off, you managed to exploit my heavy losses and my late rash moves by also sneaking two squads into that building on the east, and they're healthy and ready, and looks like they're about to either push out or wipe out the rest of the Russians. I have to say, after a couple games, Noisy, where I more or less thought I knew what I was doing, I completely got shredded.
Well, I think you won the first two plays of this, so this would be my first victory unless my old mind is deceiving me. And I would just like to make an apology and an observation. The apology being that actually I just had a quick look and it's John Hill that designed this game. So apologies. Apologies, Mr. Hill. And an observation being that those guys didn't sneak into that building. They ran across the road with their pants down and their willies waving, I can tell you.
Well, whatever they did, it worked. And so in this scenario, unless somebody just gets absolutely wiped out and takes a knee, there are 5 turns of play in which each side has a chance to attack or defend in a rotating fashion. And I believe there's 1 turn left. I have no more opportunities after this to attack or advance. So, and I do not know how I would not, I would somehow in 1 turn have to not only prevail in that middle building with 1 squad and 1 commander against your 2 commanders. But there's going to be some very nasty finishing off summary beatdowns in that middle building. And then I think that's going to be it. So, Noisy, I'm just going to thank you for the game and congratulate you in advance for this one.
Well, yeah, I'm a firm believer that when you're in the world of hex and counter, it's better to cut your loss and start again than to play a dead dog till it's barely panting, because yeah. Although there's plenty of brown counters still left on the board, most of them are hiding and cowering, as in broken. And for those that haven't played Squad Leader, those units will do nothing other than hide in the nearest cover and do nothing, not even try and defend themselves, unless a leader gets to them, from the name of the game, and rallies them, which is not always a thing because when a unit breaks, it's pretty fragile for the next 30 seconds to a minute, which is why they're those blue DM counters. The units under those are very unlikely to rally. So yeah, you have a bunch of guys, but they've all had enough for the day.
They certainly have. And then there's one thing over there on the east side of the map. There's one thing in that series that I really wish I'd taken back, which is I could have left a healthy squad in that building on the east and just rushed one across the lane, but I rushed all of them, thereby exposing that building and giving the other gentleman no cover. And I believe Sergeant Spitz and his squad were just looking straight up that lane. They were sitting in Lima 6, and when I ran across there, I think you butchered 3 squads when I did that, and that was probably when it was all over for the Russians, at least this time.
It's been fun every game, but I would like to say this game was 3% more fun for me.
I imagine you had great sport, didn't you? But it was lots more fun for me despite the setbacks because it was very educational. Again, I thought this was more or less a static training exercise where if you followed a certain couple steps, you'd more or less do okay. And there wasn't that much variance in terms of the amount of decision space, but it turns out there's a lot more interesting wrinkles. I actually had to go on Board Game Geek and say I thought I had this scenario figured out and I was ready to move on. But the unexpected range of decisions that you have to make when you're aggressive and you open yourselves up to more fire, more decisions, and higher consequences of decisions. It was like a new game. So I just have to say, Noisy, thank you for giving me the chance to experience this. And I think I'm the Germans next time, and I'm going to take it out on you.
Yeah. If you can turn a blind eye to their shitty politics, the German army is often a fun army to play in a hex and counter game. because they are generally reasonably well equipped and well led, and that makes for a more enjoyable play experience than having a lot of men who melt away as everything gets too difficult, just like regular dudes would. I think it points out in the back of the squad leader rulebook with the designer's notes somewhere that most people don't want to be here. They're there because they're forced to. And I think squad leader just, animates that very well.
As I remember the language, and even a hardened veteran squad can only take so many days of no sleep and having bullets whizzing by your ears, and sometimes there's no amount of training that can overcome the dictates of the central nervous system.
Yeah, despite what a lot of people would try and have us believe, I think killing people is alien to 99.9% of humans.
Well, in any case, I certainly got a lot of my humans killed this time, and now having seen a little more depth in scenario one, I don't think I'm going to be the one pushing to move on.
I'm just having a look in the graveyard, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I think you have 12 counters in the graveyard. One of which is a leader, I think. And I had, come on, 4 squads, dead machine guns. Do we put dead machine guns in the graveyard? Evidently we do. Yeah, so I've lost 6 squads. I think to your 11, which I think illustrates just how hard assaulting is.
Yeah, that's a nearly 2-to-1 kill ratio. So yes, and I believe a lot of that was necessary chances. But I think anyway, part of the fun in learning a game and how I learn is just experimenting. Is what happens if I push this over here? It's like, well, it will die. Now I know that. Let's move on.
I'm very glad we weren't there.
Yeah, same here. But in either case, Noisy, thank you for joining me in this recap again. Congratulations in advance. I don't think there's any way the Soviets pull this one off, and I look forward to resetting this board or a different board and meeting you again on the battlefield, sir.
No, you're really welcome, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to relive this old game, which I used to play a lot in my 20s and 30s. And thank you for having me on the show.
Cheers. Until next time, big bro. May you fight long and well.
Do my best.